Hey guys, if you're a pet owner and you're tired of ugly dog kennels cluttering up your space, then this video is for you. In this video, I'm going to show you how to build a double dog kennel that doubles as a TV stand. Perfect for keeping your dogs comfortable while upgrading your living room as well. If you're a beginning woodworker or a more advanced woodworker looking to pick up some skills, then aspects of this video will definitely benefit you. My name is Nicholas Pecos. My shop/channel is a Pecos Aesthetic. I've been woodworking for over 10 years. I've run a successful part-time woodworking business, and I've built projects for family and friends like these ones. And now I want to share that knowledge with you guys. So please stick around and we'll get into this build. So kicking it off here, this is the design of the double dog kennel in Sketchup minus the doors, which I didn't realize till after I made this that weren't there. I don't always use Sketchup to design projects, but this was a big enough build. I figured laying it out in Sketchup would really help me visualize it before I dove in. I'm going to be using good old generic Eastern white pine for this project. It's going to be finished in white paint and then aged barrel stain for the top. This project is being made for a family friend, and I'm really excited about this build. I haven't built anything like this before, so I'm really excited to tackle this project. So here I'm cutting my plywood down to size. This is for the bottom of the dog crate and the back. And what I plan to do here is use dados that I'm going to cut using my track saw to keep all of the panels aligned. I'm installing a dado blade on my table saw here because I'm going to be cutting dados in the cross supports to hold the base piece in. And on these pieces, it's much easier to use the table saw to cut these dados. You get much cleaner cuts. I use the track saw on the plywood and my dado blade on these cuts. If you haven't already, pick yourself up a set of dado blades. I guarantee you, if you're going to get into woodworking, you are going to be using them on a regular basis. They're very helpful, very handy, and I'm glad I have them. And as you can see, they make nice clean cuts, so they're really helpful to have. Now we're going to take our bottom pieces, which we just put our dado cuts in. We're going to glue up this, the base, the bottom piece of this project. You'll notice the plywood has a dado right in the middle, and that's what we're going to put our center divider in to separate the two dog kennels. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I'm a sucker for rabbits. Sorry, that was just terrible, and I'm actually ashamed, but yeah, I'm going to be putting rabbits in these back two supports. Basically, it's just going to serve as a place to hold the back panel for glue up. I'm going to be using my domino here to install some dominoes to install these back corner pieces. This is the larger of the two dominoes that Festool makes. And guys, if you've never used this product before, Festool gets a bad rap because their stuff is really expensive, and it's true, it definitely is. But this one tool I have used in so many projects. If you're going to spend a lot of money on one tool, I highly recommend this one. It's definitely worth it. And like I said, they have a larger version for bigger projects and a smaller version for smaller projects. This is the larger version. I'll put a link to this tool in the description. Moving on to the front supports, I'm going to be using the domino to make tenons here as well. I'm going to be putting two tenons in the bottom and top of each of these pieces, and that's going to give me ample area for glue up and also create a really strong connection between the top and bottom of this dog kennel. Side note, guys, this domino makes creating these tenons easy, but you don't have to have one. You can make tenons on your table saw. You can make tenons with a tenoning jig. You can make tenons with a router. There are many different ways to go about your projects. This is just how I approach these projects now that I have a domino. It's quick, it's fast, it's easy, but there are different ways to do it. You should use the method that works the best for you and that you have available to you. Notice in the background of this shot too, I have a high pressure nozzle on my compressor and hose, and it's hooked up to a retractable hose that's drilled into my wall and that's hooked up to a compressor. And I honestly don't know how I got by without a compressor for so many years. I just got this recently. There's so many instances where you need to blow away dust quickly, whether it's cleaning off a project before you're going to be painting, or in this case, using the domino and just clearing away dust. It's such a handy thing to have. Giraffe Tools makes a really good retractable hose that you can bolt right into your wall, and you can pick up a compressor from Lowe's, Home Depot, and then they also sell the high pressure nozzle. After marking out the area where this dado is going to go on this board, I'm going to route it by hand, and that's because I'm not worried about it being exact. This particular piece is just creating a dado for the divider to go in the front of the dog kennel. So I don't have a panic attack when I do the actual glue up. I'm going to do a dry run and see how these domino tenons fit and everything lines up before I do the actual glue up. I want to take a minute and ask for your guys' feedback on this project. If there's a different way that you would approach building this project, I would love to hear about it. I'm definitely always open to new ideas, and I know there's many different ways to do things. So please, if you have a minute, drop in the comments section how you would approach this project, the different techniques you would use. I'd love to hear about it. Now moving on to these front corner pieces, I'm going to be using rabbets again to create these front corner pieces, and that's so that they're 3 inches wide in both directions, just to create a little bit more of a uniform look. And again, I'm going to be using domino tenons to secure these in place and get a nice tight sturdy fit. For cutting, painting, and installing the bars on the dog kennel, I went with 1/2 inch thick black piping that I picked up at Lowe's, and I'm going to cut it to length using a fine tooth blade on my Sawzall. Just going to spray paint it with black paint. I used Rust-Oleum in this case, but really any brand spray paint will do. And then I'm going to mark on my project where I want the bars to go on the lower and upper supports. Drill press the holes 1 inch deep on the upper and lower supports, and then install the bars themselves. And to install the bars and keep them in place, I'm going to use liquid nails. This will keep them nice and strong and where I want them to stay. And then I'm going to use wood glue on the wood, obviously, to glue this whole thing together. And the glue up on this was a little bit of a pain in the butt because I had to get everything to line up. But once I did, everything came together nicely, and it's nice and strong. There's no way a dog is going to be able to break out of this sucker. And that's what the client I'm building this for really wanted. She wanted something that's sturdier than cheap particle board you can get from IKEA. So that's what I'm hoping to deliver. Moving on to the next step, I'm going to seal all the seams with caulking and then use wood filler and all the uneven areas and all the joint connections. This product is really great by Goodfilla. And then I'm going to paint the whole thing white. This is where I ran into my first major hiccup in the project. I usually spray things. I think you get a nicer finish than brush on paint. I got my whole makeshift spray booth set up, and then my spray gun crapped out. Wah, wah. Oh well. Now I'm going to start on the doors for this project, and in keeping with the farmhouse theme, I envisioned sliding barn doors. I picked up a mini sliding barn door track off of Amazon, and I'm going to create 2 mini barn door looking doors for it. So my thought process for this is I'm going to cut my pieces. I need them to be 25 inches tall by 17.5 inches wide. And to create the frame, I'm going to use the smaller domino machine by Fez tool to create tenons again, glue up the frame, then put in my cross X pieces in the middle. And then on the back, I'm going to glue that all to 1/4 inch MDF. If I was standing these doors, obviously I would build them shaker style, but since they're getting painted, I can just glue on 1/4 inch MDF on the back, fill it in with some putty, and then paint it, and you won't even know the difference. Also went ahead and built my first set of doors about 4 inches too short, so there's that.
Whoops!
Now we're on to the console top, and for this I'm going to use my track saw to cut this down to a width that allows me to have a 3/4 inch overhang on the front and both sides. And then I'm going to use a 1/4 inch round over bit to soften the edges on these things and create a nice rounded edge. And then this step often gets overlooked. This is an important one since this is pine. Pine is a softwood and it really absorbs stain in a blotchy manner. You want to use pre-stain wood conditioner And what that does is it's a product that goes on first, let it soak in for 5 minutes, wipe it off, and it allows your stain to absorb into the wood much more evenly and you don't get a blotchy finish. So I'm using the Minwax pre-stain conditioner first, and then I'm going to use Minwax Aged Barrel Color. And this video is not sponsored by Minwax, by the way. I just tend to use their products. It's the first time I'm using this specific color, and I'm really happy with how it came out. It looks really rustic. I'm going to use figure 8 tabletop fasteners to secure the top to this console table. They're really easy to install, they're cheap, and they allow for wood movement. Next up here, we're going to be installing the hardware on this sucker. So first up for that is installing the track. And what I'm doing here is marking out the location of where I'm going to put screws in using my DeWalt laser, which I just showed you a picture of. And then I'm going to install the actual track. I picked this track up off of Amazon, and it's 6 foot length. It's perfect for this application. Wasn't very expensive. It was 33 bucks. Comes with good instructions too, but to be honest with you, the only instructions you need are what height to set the track at on your actual piece, and then what height to set your rollers on your actual doors. Those two things you need to know. They're right in the instructions. It's very easy. Now I'm going to be installing the wheels on the bottom of this. The client requested that I put wheels on. She wants to be able to move it around her house in case she needs to. So the plywood on the bottom of this is 3/4 inch thick. I'm going to add 3/4 inch thick little blocking here where each wheel is going, just to give the screws a little something to bite into. I'm going to use 1/4 inch and 1/4 screws. So I'm just using wood glue, marking out where I want the wheel to go, making sure I leave enough room so that the wheel can spin 360 degrees, because these are swivel casters. And then I'm going to use my nail gun to nail in the blocking. And insert 1 1/4 inch screws times 4 for each of these wheels. Repeat the process 4 times to get the 4 wheels in. So the next up is the skirt, and it's important to know these are 5-inch wheels, and you can see the little lip on the bottom of this piece. I wanted the wheels recessed a little bit, and that leaves me approximately 2 inches between the bottom of the wheels and the top of that little lip. So I need some sort of skirting to put around the piece that's going to cover that gap. And I need it to be removable because they need to be able to access the wheels to unlock and lock the swivel casters when they want to move it around. So this is what I came up with. I took some old baseboard that I had lying around from a previous project, and I put 45-degree mitered ends on the ends of these things. Then I used my trusty old CA glue, and accelerator to put them together and hold them in place until I could get finish nails in them. Put finish nails in the corners so they were nice and strong. Then I took some double-sided tape that I had left over from a previous build when I did the console table in our living room. If you haven't already seen that video, it's a really good video if you're looking for some beginner builds. I'll put a link in the description. Took one side of the Velcro, put it on the baseboard. Other side of the Velcro, put it on the dog kennel. And this is the result. So now I can take this baseboard piece off of the Velcro, so I can get at the locking mechanisms on the swivel wheels beneath, move this thing around wherever I want to, and then I can take the baseboard piece and Velcro it back into place. And unless you're looking for it, you wouldn't even know the difference. And, oh, that's my pup, Nala. So this is just a clip showing how you install the doors. Once you get the rollers on, they just pop onto the track. And then at the bottom there, you got that track guide that keeps the door moving in the same plane. And this is the final outcome of the project. I truly enjoyed this build, and there were some new challenges that I faced with it. I think that's one of the my most favorite things about woodworking, is encountering a new challenge on a build, learning new things. In this particular build, it was working with these metal bars. I'd never cut metal like this before. I thought it was going to be a big challenge, but I was surprised at how easy the fine-tooth blade cut through those metal bars. If you enjoyed this content, guys, then please subscribe to my channel, like the video, share it with family and friends, and please let me know in the comments section, was there anything you saw in this video, any new skill or tip that you hadn't already known about, that you're excited about trying on your own in a future build? I'd love to hear about it. If you want to see more project build videos, then check out these two playlists. The top one is more advanced project builds. The bottom one is more beginner-friendly project builds. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Videos drop every Saturday. See you soon.